Welcome everyone. This video, this practice is going to be a whole body mobility flow. So we're going to focus on our shoulders and our hips and our torso, our ribs, our wrists, our ankles, our neck. We're just going to try and get all the parts moving so that we can feel really good and move with a feeling of grace and strength and balance. I'd like to share with you a quote that I just learned from a podcast that has really stuck with me and seems to be a powerful message. Focus on what you lack, and you will lose what you have. Focus on what you have, and you will gain what you lack. So our focus determines so much of our perspective, of our balance, of like our attitude going into whatever it is that we might be trying. So I'd like you to just kind of keep that in mind. We're going to start by closing our eyes and give that quote a little bit of time to marinate with you while you focus on your breath, moving in and out, slowing the breath down, clearing your mind out. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. And feel that fullness so that your whole inner body fills up with the breath, 360 degrees. And then there's a relaxing and a letting go and a feeling of equanimity and peace. So just bring your mind to this present moment so that you can be open to receiving whatever gifts of wisdom, knowledge that are bestowed upon you from this practice. So let's start on our backs. Bring your feet into, one thing I forgot to say is it might be nice if you have a yoga block handy or something that you can press into. Could be a pillow, rolled up towel, something like that. It's not absolutely necessary, but it would be nice to have. So start with your feet about hip distance apart. Bring your heels out just a little bit, which will probably make your feet more parallel. Lift and spread all 10 toes. And gently keep the spread, keep the spacing as you float your toes back down. Start to press into the floor with the tripod of your foot, lifting your hips up. And as you exhale, let your spine soften, your back relax as you lower your hips down. So the tripod of the foot, we'll repeat this several more times. So the tripod of your foot is the mound of the big toe, the mound of the pinky toe, and the center of the heel. So one more time, pressing up through the whole foot and lower back down. And now you might have to walk your feet in a little bit. Now we're going to lift our heels up and see if you can press up and lower down, keeping the heels lifted the whole time. And notice how this feels. A little bit different than having the whole foot down. So we'll do one more of these up on our toes with the heels lifted. Notice how the glutes are turning on, firing up. Now see if you can lift the front of your foot up. So just your heel is down. Keep that. Lift up and lower down. Keep lifting up through those toes as much as you can. Press into the heel as you lift up and lower down. One more time, press down, lift up, and slowly lower down. So now, if you have a yoga block, or like I said, 2 pillows or a towel, you're gonna place one yoga block between your feet and one between your hands. Straighten your legs out. Squeeze both blocks, and then lift your shoulders off the floor, squeezing the block, and lower down. And lift up, squeeze the block and lower, One more time. Squeeze the block, lift up, and lower down. Now squeeze the block with your feet, lift up, and lower, and lift. So just squeezing the block is a lot of work, and then just lifting it a little bit makes it a little bit harder. And lower. And now we're going to see if we can do both together. So squeeze the block with your hands, squeeze the block with your feet, and lift up a little bit, lower down. Exhale, lift up and lower. One more time, squeeze and press, lift up and lower down, and just relax. So getting that core turned on. So it's like kind of aware to step in and help when we need it. So now pull your knees, press your knees together. See if you can make a 90-degree angle with your knees and your hips. Open your arms out to the side. Let the back of your shoulders rest on the floor and just lightly do a little bit of a posterior tilt so your low back flattens. Keep that energy, that action, squeeze your legs together. And you could also have the block in between your knees or whatever you were using. So you want to squeeze into your knees or into that block and then lower your legs about maybe 45 degrees to the side. And we're going to hold here just for a breath or two. And come back up to center and twist to the left, squeezing the knees in towards each other. Finding just the right amount so that you're doing some work, but not too much work. Now we're going to do this 2 more times, and you're welcome to stay in this 90-degree position or start to open it up. So this will increase the difficulty. Keep squeezing your knees to the block, lower partway to the side. Squeeze, 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 and come back up to center, lower partway to the left, squeezing your legs in towards each other, really pressing that left leg up into the right leg. And come back up. Now for the last time, you can stay in any of these positions, or you could try straightening your legs. So start to lower over to your right and hold here just for a breath or two. And come back to center, twist over to the left, squeeze and hold and breathe and smile. Squeeze, oh yeah, come on back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest and give yourself a little rocking and rolling around in the ground. Nice and gentle. And then we're gonna rock up and come onto our hands and knees in tabletop. And first it's good to warm up the wrist. So with your fingers spread, press your finger pads into the floor. Feel your muscles of your arms engage when you do that. And start to circle around your wrists. Feeling the weight shift. And reverse the direction of your circles. And now turn your fingers towards your knees as much as you can, and again circle. Remember to activate your arms by pressing your finger pads down into the ground as if you wanted to grab the yoga mat. And reverse the direction of your circles. Now flip your hands. The closer your hands are to your knees, the less of a stretch it'll be. So find a position that you can spread your fingers open and just start to rock forward and back a little bit. And circle around your wrists. Now you don't have to lean a lot of weight into this. You can control how much weight you put into the top of your hands. You want to make sure that it doesn't feel like it's going to hurt your wrists. And then start to peel your hands back interlace your fingers and start to rotate at the wrists. Go slowly enough that you can do like a full flexion and extension of the wrists, that you're not just kind of whizzing by, but really kind of getting in there. And then rotate your palms forward, lift your arms up, pull your ribs back as you reach your arms back. So the arms and the ribs are going to go back together. And then let yourself come into more of a back bend, but keep some of the ribs pulling in, even though they're going to open up more the more of a back bend you do. And release your hands, bring your hands behind you, and lean back into your fingertips. And press your chest forward, and let it relax back. Let the elbows bend and press forward. And back, come up onto your knees, and tuck your toes. Reach your left hand towards your left heel and reach your right arm across. And then switch sides. Bring your right hand to your right heel, reach the left arm across. And just switch side to side. One more time. Each side. So a total of 3 reps on each side. Come back onto your hands and knees in tabletop and start to ripple from your tailbone, lifting up all the way up through your chest into the shoulders and up into the crown of your head. And then start curling from the tailbone and ripple your spine into a nice big arch, rounding your spine. So I guess there's 2 arches. One is like an arch at the top, a rounded back, and the other one is kind of an arch at the bottom, so more of a cup-shaped back. And just see if you can roll back and forth. One more time. And tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back to your down dog. You can bend one knee at a time, just nice and slowly, so that you can really notice what you're feeling. So it's not just going through the motions, but it's focusing on what you have. How much length and strength you have in your hamstrings, and using that. On your next inhale, roll forward into plank, and exhale, stretch back into your down dog. Just go back and forth. Nice gentle movements. And come back down into tabletop. We're going to do little walks with our knees just hovering above the ground. So we're going to walk forward and back and side and back and other side and back. The lower you keep your knees to the floor, the more challenging this is. And we're going to be moving alternate arm and leg together. So hover your knees just a little bit off the floor. And step your left foot and your right hand forward. And then the left hand and the right knee forward. And then step the left hand, right leg back. Right hand, left leg back. And one more time each side. Coming to the back of your mat. And step the left hand, right knee forward, right hand, left knee forward. And then we're going to bring the left hand and right foot out to the side, right hand and left foot out to the side. So we're just stepping off the mat, and then left hand and right foot comes across, and right hand and left foot. Left and right, right and left, left and right, right and left, right and left, left and right, right and left, left and right. And come back to center. Shift your hips back to downward facing dog. Good, lower your knees all the way down. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and lift with your knee at 90 degrees, lift your right leg up And then alternate rotating at the hip joint. Going from an inner rotation to an outer rotation. I'm just seeing if you can feel that movement in the hip joint. Going back and forth. And bring your leg out to the side and just little pulses up. Like you're kicking the outside edge of your foot up into something. Try not to let it drop too much. Good. Come back into your tabletop and we'll do the same thing other side. So pick your left leg up and work between an external rotation and internal rotation. Trying to keep the knee about hip height. It could, or most likely like mine is probably doing, it could tend to drop. So keep reminding yourself to keep it lifted. And then open your leg out to the side. And you can keep your knee bent. I didn't say that on the first side, but you can keep your knee bent or straighten the leg and little pulses up. So try not to drop your leg, but keep it lifted. Good. And move your knees back, walk your knees back, stretch back into your child's pose. And just relax here with your breath. On your next inhale, round forward. And on your exhale, glide back. And inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Come on up into your tabletop. And see if you can just circle your hips. So trying to keep your ribs, your middle spine, your thoracic spine as still as possible. And really feeling it in the hips. Reverse to circles, the direction of the circles. And come back to neutral and see if you can roll the ribs. So keeping the hips relatively still, but rolling the ribs around in a circle. And reverse the direction of your circles. Good. Walk your knees back a little bit, lift your hips up into downward facing dog. And bring your knees back down, keeping your toes tucked. Walk your hands back. Now, if you have yoga blocks, you might want to be leaning forward a little bit. We're going to be stretching out the sole of the foot. So just practice like leaning back as much as you can fairly comfortably. And you can always kind of move forward and back. So like if you have an injured toe, my right big toe is injured. So I have to be really careful of that foot. Left foot feels fine, right foot is, I got to really pay attention. So if you have any injury or if something's not feeling right, just pay attention. And sit back on your heels, reach your hands back and see if you can float your knees up. So now we're stretching the top of the feet and lower down and lift and lower. Maybe you could even find a little balance. The more you pull up on your knees, it might be subtle, but you get a little more stretch on the top of the feet. So you can kind of dial it in to whatever degree is going to work the best for you. So let's come back down, come back into tabletop. Stretch your right leg back. Push your big toe mound into the ground to activate your leg and just let it float up. Keep the belly lifted, don't sag. And float your left arm up. Now we'll circle the wrists and the ankles together. Reverse the circles. Bend your back knee, reach back with your right hand, your left hand for your right foot. Find your foot and then kick back. Kick back and reach forward at the same time. And come back into your tabletop. Straighten out through the left leg. Push into your big toe mound till you feel your leg get strong and engaged. And then let your leg float up. Float your right arm forward and start to circle. So ankle and wrist mobility are really important. And switch the direction of your circles. And reach back with your right hand for your left foot. Kick back through your foot, reach forward through your chest. Good, release your foot and stretch back into your downward facing dog. On your next inhale, sweep your right leg up. Reach back through your whole body. Then hug your heel to your hip and your knee to your chest. Step your foot forward. Lift and spread your toes. Press down into the back foot and rise up. Crescent lunge. Bend your back knee and sink your hips a little bit. And see if you can push out through that back heel, keeping the kind of the same distance as much as you can from the floor. So we're kind of sinking a little bit lower rather than lifting up higher. Place your right hand to the outside, just a little bit to the outside of your right knee, and then push your knee into your hand as you resist with your hand and reach your left arm across. And come back to center, and we'll bring the left hand to the inside of the right knee, pushing into the knee, pushing the knee into your hand, and reach your right arm across. And come back to center, step back into your down dog. Left side, sweep the left leg up, reach back with your whole body, and pull your heel to your hip and draw your knee into your chest. Keep your knee high as you straighten your leg, stepping your foot forward. Lift and spread all 5 toes, and rise up, crescent lunge. Bend your back knee, sink your hips, and then try and push out through that back leg. Bring your left hand down to the outside of your left knee. Push your hand into your knee and your knee into your hand. Reach your arm across. And come back to center. Bring your right hand to the inside of the left knee. Push out into your knee. Push your knee into your hand and reach across. And come back through crescent lunge. And back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. And come up onto your fingertips. And now let's see if you can just lift your heels up without shifting your weight forward. But see if you can keep your hips over your ankles and just use your calves to use the muscles of your legs to pick your heels up and lower them down. And then see if you can lift the front of your foot up. Just alternate back and forth. And again, lift and spread all 10 toes. Lower your toes down, keeping the spacing. Press into the metatarsal head. So just right at the base of your toes, press in and see if you can keep your toes kind of relaxed and stretching outward as you press into the metatarsal heads. And rise all the way up to stand. Bring your hands together in front of your heart. And find your Tadasana, your mountain pose. And see if you can find that balance of engaging and feeling that internal strength with that feeling of effortless, almost floating around. So we tend to step back from being towards the front of our mat. We're going to play with stepping forward from the back of the mat. So as you inhale, reach your arms up, pull your right knee up nice and tight, pull your heel in towards your hip, and stretch your leg back. And this time, pull your knee up, bend your left knee and start to lean forward a little bit as you step forward into your crescent lunge. So again, bend the back knee, push out through your heel. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, step into your front foot, float the back leg up. Coming into a variation of warrior three. Keeping the shoulders nice and lifted, belly lifted. And slowly reach back through your toes, coming back into crescent lunge. And back to downward facing dog. Just take a few moments to play with your down dog. And walk your hands back to your feet. Lift and spread all your toes. See if you can see the color of the mat between your toes. And try and relax your toes so they're extending instead of scrunching in. Rise all the way up to stand. And bring your hands together in front of your heart, Tadasana. Just pause and ground. Focus on your breath. On your next inhale, reach your arms up, pull your left knee up, and reach it back. Pull your knee up again. Bend your right knee, start to lean forward, and step forward into your crescent lunge. Bend the back knee. Open up through the shoulders, and then we're going to lightly step forward, pressing into our front foot, reaching the back leg up. Keeping the shoulders lifted, keep the belly lifted. Warrior three. And lightly step back, crescent lunge, and downward facing dog. On your next inhale, come forward to plank. And we're going to lower all the way down, so keep your back nice and strong. You can lower the knees or keep them lifted. Resist the floor as you lower, so lower nice and slowly. Point your toes, press the top of your feet into the ground, and curl up into your cobra. So part of the ability to curl into your upper back a little bit in cobra is keeping the legs nice and strong. Extend forward as you lower down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhale, rise up. This time we're going to lower halfway down. Squeeze your legs in towards each other as if the block was there, or the pillow, or whatever you were using in the beginning, and float your arms up. We'll hold here a couple of breaths. And lower back down again. Inhale, curl up into your cobra. Exhale, lower down. Bring your hands forward, coming into Sphinx pose. Bend your left knee, reach back for your left foot with your left hand, and gently pull your heel in towards your hip as you stretch your knee away from your hip. And just let this stretch relax, and then engage a little bit more. Just noticing how this is feeling. And focusing on how much flexibility you have in your quads, as opposed to focusing on how little flexibility it might feel like you have. Just honoring whatever it is that you have today with your quads, with your whole body. And let's switch sides. Grab both feet with each foot with each hand. So right foot with the right hand, left foot with the left hand. And push your feet back to lift your chest up. Hug your legs in towards each other. Open up through the shoulders. And hold here for 2 breaths. And see if you can kick back and lift up a little bit higher. Good, lower down. Release your feet. Engage your legs, pressing your feet into the floor, curl up into your cobra. And back to downward facing dog. Give yourself a nice long stretch here through your spine. Walk your feet forward to your hands. Lift and spread all your toes. Softly lower them down. Rise all the way up. And bring your hands together in front of your heart. Again, pause. Let yourself refresh. And just take time to appreciate how your body's moving, how you're feeling, being active. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up. And on your exhale, forward fold. Place your hands down, step back to plank. Lower all the way down. Curl up into your cobra. And stretch back to your down dog. On your next inhale, sweep your right leg up. Hug your knee into your chest and step your foot all the way forward. Rise up, crescent lunge. And open up like a big cobra in your crescent lunge. And rotate the back heel down, open up, warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Reach up and back. Reverse your warrior. Come back forward to warrior two, straighten your front leg and parallel your feet. Come into a gentle forward fold. Just glide gently from side to side. And come back to center, rotate your left foot forward and rotate the back heel up, coming into crescent lunge. Open up, nice big opening through your chest, through your whole front body. Rotate the back heel down, coming into warrior two. You take time to find your foundation, finding that downward movement and that upward lift. Just reach up and back, reverse your warrior, come back through warrior two, straighten your front leg, parallel your feet again. This time lift your heels up, bringing the heels in so toes are turning out and sink down. Bring your arms into cactus position. And then push down through your feet, lift up through your heels, reach up through your fingertips, and bend the elbows, lower the heels back down, sink down. Press down and lift up. Yeah, and settle back down, lower down. One more time, press down, lift up. Keep your ankles hugging in toward an imaginary midline. And then lower down. Heel toe your feet together. So we're back into Tadasana. And we'll focus on our balance with tree pose. So reach your arms up. And just like we did in the beginning, pull your right knee up. Externally rotate and place your foot on your inner thigh. You can always use your hand to hike it up a little bit more. You can also place your foot around your calf and press into your standing leg. Draw the ribs in, reach up nice and tall. And release your right foot, pull your knee up, straighten your leg, and slowly float your leg down, your arms back down by your side. Again, just take a moment to pause between sides. We'll do the same thing with the other leg. So reach your left knee up, hug your knee in nice and tight, externally rotate at the hip, keeping that knee lifted, place your foot on your inner thigh. Press down through your standing leg, reach up through your fingertips, reach up through the corners of your mouth. Wow, fight for it if you're losing it. All right, then release your knee, pull your knee up nice and high, straighten your leg, and slowly lower down. All right, so let's get a little kind of loosey-goosey, circling the hips. Just enjoying that freedom of movement after having this strong, rigid straight lines. Now can we just circle the hips in both directions? And then just circle the shoulders, squeezing up and back and down and forward. And then reverse the direction of your shoulder circles. Good. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up. Come up onto your tiptoes. And then sink your hips, coming into Utkatasana, chair pose. Inhale, rise up, come up onto your toes. Exhale, lower the heels down, sink down, Utkatasana. One more time. Press down to rise up. Lower down, and this time we're going to come all the way into a squat. So feel free to widen your feet apart, turn your toes out. Come as low as you can. Pause here. And lower your hips down. Bring your feet forward and slowly lower onto your backs. Hug your knees into your chest. And again, circle your hips. Both directions. Place your feet down, lift and shift your hips over to the right. Straighten your left leg on the ground, reach your right leg up, and open your arms out to the side. Now we're going to aim to have our toes land in our hand. So bring your hand out to about shoulder height. And this is just a guide, just kind of something to play with. Start to bring your leg across. Again, aiming your toes for your hand. If you can, hold your foot when your foot touches down. If your leg is lower, that's fine. You can leave it there. And you can turn your head away from your foot. And stretch out through your left leg that's on the ground. And you have an option to bend your left knee and reach with your right hand for your left foot. And we'll stay here in this nice open hip stretch. Just letting everything relax. Noticing how your body has shifted a little bit, grown a little bit. Grown in the sense of maybe having more movement, more strength available. If you were holding your left foot, release it now, straightening that left leg, release your right foot as well. And instead of thinking of picking your foot up, thinking of driving in this right hip back and down, bringing your leg up, square your hips, and slowly float your leg all the way down. Once your heel touches, just let everything relax. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So bend your knees, shift your hips a little bit to the left, straighten your right leg, both arms are out to your side, lift the left leg up. So in order to be able to reach your hand, try and bring your foot up as high as you can towards your face, instead of back here, more forward. And keep that as best you can as you reach your leg across. If your foot lands in your hand, hold your foot. Turn your head to the opposite direction. Press out through the right heel. And then if you want to bend your knee, reach for your foot with your left hand. And relax here. It's up to you whether you're holding one foot or both feet or no feet. Just let yourself relax. And find the benefit that you can get from this pose, even if you're not holding both feet. Even if you're not even holding one foot, you can still get a benefit here. And just let yourself relax. If you were holding your feet, release your feet. Pull your left hip down to bring your left leg up. Square your hips. And slowly float your left leg down. When your heel touches, imagine that was like it just pressed on a relax button and you just kind of automatically let everything go. Now bend your knees, pull your knees as wide as your ribs and hold the back of your legs just above your knees. And see if you can bring your feet up parallel to the ceiling. Keep your shoulders on the floor and reach your arms up. If your hands can touch your feet like this, then hold on to your feet. But whatever they touch, like let's say they touch your calves, and just hold on to your calves. So keeping the shoulders down, begin to gently rock from side to side. And keeping your feet wide, lower your feet down, arms out to the side. And we'll gently windshield wiper our knees from side to side, taking time to really stretch out through that top knee. So your knees stretching towards, in the direction kind of the opposite foot. And you could even think of drawing in here, right at the top, that top hip, like you're trying to pull the hip bone down as you stretch your knee away. This will just give you a little extra quad stretch. So you don't want to feel any pressure on your knee, but if this feels good, just run with it, play with it. And come back up to center, and same thing, other side, switch. So think of pushing forward through your right knee, drawing back through your right hip. Just getting that little bit of extra stretch if you want it, if you like that feeling. And come back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest. And we're going to stretch out for Savasana. So let your feet slide away from your hips. Make sure that your back is relatively flat. So ideally, you feel your back ribs on the floor, not arched up with all this space, but lowering down. Let the front ribs relax. You could even bend your knees, lift your hips, stretch your hips towards your heels, so posterior tilt of the pelvis. Hold that, lower down. And straighten your legs out again. That might feel really good. And let your breath allow you to totally relax and let go. Nice, easy, slow, full breaths in and out through your nose. And I'm going to stay here with you for a minute or two. You're always welcome to lengthen your Savasana longer than what I do with you in this video, because rest is so important. Without rest, we can't digest. We can't digest, we don't get the benefit and the energy from our food. If we don't have the energy from our food, then we don't feel like doing much. So just be present in this moment. Finding a deep sense of inner peace. Begin to bring some gentle movement into your body, nice and slowly, so you can enjoy the aftermath of your savasana. And whenever you're ready, with your eyes closed, bend your knees and gently roll to your side. And feel the benefit of this subtle transition from savasana to sukhasana, seated pose. Just like we enjoyed all the transitions when we were moving and standing. So see if you can enjoy the subtlety of this transition. And when you're ready, with your eyes closed, gently press and roll your way up to a comfortable seat. And just take a moment to let your pelvis settle and feel that breath moving in and out through your nose. Notice if you feel like maybe a deeper sense of appreciation for what you do have. And when you focus on that, maybe notice if kind of the universe moves with you, so that whatever you might think you're lacking becomes part of your life. By that I mean that you gain whatever it is that helps you to feel good about yourself, good about being alive. And please bring your hands together in front of your heart. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope that you feel really super good and have a greater sense of the capacity that you have to be mobile and to move with a feeling of grace and strength and balance. Please leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Share this with your friends and hope to see you again soon.